Eric. Eric, the Rover 25. That's this car here. Isn't it glorious? Doesn't even look as dirty as it did the other day, and I haven't even washed it. This is a happy sunny day, and I've just realised what a happy sunny car this might be. And also it does have the advantage of being diesel, non-precocious, and something else that you will discover quite soon. However, just recently it's been making a bit of a grinding noise from the brakes. It's coming from the back. Jack, jack, jack it up, jack the car up, jack the little car up off the ground until it's off the ground and the wheels are no longer touching the floor. I should be a little bit surprised to find anything wrong with the rear brakes in this car because they are drums and the car only has 109,000 miles and the brake drums really do not get a great deal of use. So if they've worn out, if the pads have worn out on the inside, I'll be, well, disappointed. Fortune. Oh. Yeah, do you hear that? There's definitely, something a bit not right there. Ow. Oh, shit. It looks like a decision has been made around Eric. Eric is up for sale at the moment, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe it'd be a bit daft to sell it. Maybe this should be my permanent daily car. The likes of Nigel and Brett Anderson shall just be the treat. The daily car needs to be a small diesel with a tow bar. Amongst some rubbish here is a rear beam for a Rover 25. Yeah, now it has been left outside somewhat, which is kind of typical because it's too big and cumbersome to find anywhere useful for it to live. But as these don't even go wrong, very difficult to find any use for. But maybe the brakes in the back of there will still be okay. That is what I'm thinking. That is what I'm expecting. That is going to be the likely job that I will attempt today, of swapping some brake stuff over. And regardless of whether I succeed or not, what I shall be able to do is at least take that one apart and find out how it comes apart and how it goes back together before I attempt it on a car that I need to use today. Thing is, will it come apart? Well, the two retaining screws have popped out easily enough without rounding off. Now I'm going to have to deploy the magic of the hammer, the impact solution, smackety whackety tool, the science of violence. That's what's going to be employed here. Hammer and the flat blade, what a combo. Well, that was easy. Look at that, it's coming off already, just with a little tap. Now, looking at that, this is off a car with a similar mileage and a worn out wheel bearing. Probably because that hole that's in there's got water inside. But look at the brake pad, there's loads left on there, absolutely loads. And that makes me think that the brake pad on the other car is probably not going to be that bad. So maybe I should check it first. The wheel must come off. Oh, no. Well, it's certainly resisting coming off somewhat. Let's see if that grinding stopped, shall we? Nope, it's still there. But it might just... fairly sure it's just going to be some rusty stuff getting trapped in the thingy. Do that again. It'll be right. So now I'm about to say something that you won't expect. Just like Nigel used to be when I bought him 5 years ago. Just a car with a Rover name. Unprecocious, unloved, uninvolved, unlikely to cause offence. That sound isn't something being dragged down the road. It's an Audi's exhaust. Unlikely, unglamorous, or disglamorous, whatever it could possibly be. Tidy, unambiguously Project Drive. Unnecessary. Although, no, I have Nigel. I have Brett Anderson for doing car shows, for the joy of driving, for the fun of it, for the sheer happiness of being part of the Rover community. This car, on the other hand, well, it's just a car, but it's also a Rover. And it's a Rover that I could do jobs on. I could make this my car. More personally, my car. How can I make this into something that only I have? Registration? I'm going to tell you something now. When I first met this car, Nigel was still all gold. And I got into this and I thought, gosh, this is a really, really rather lovely, tidy 25. Much nicer than Nigel. And now, of course, it's the other way around. It's battered, it's rusty, it's scratched, it's dirty, and the interior, it's crap. It is though. I've never once pretended that the facelift 25 has a good interior. Yeah, it looks more modern, but the quality, it's just not there. Even these robot boobies don't help it out. Yes, look at those robot boobies. They could do with a big bra on. But that's the whole point. It just makes a car that's easy to live with, easy to get along with. So you keep it and then gradually you make it better. You turn it into something that's unique, something that is your own. And in order to keep this car, I will have to do that. And now I am seriously thinking about developing Nigel's diesel cousin. Honestly, you think I'm joking, but actually I'm not. Either buy it right now or don't. But before long it will be too late to have this car original, because I'm already starting to get some ideas. It's going to be another Nigel, but not quite. Swing gear, rusty, dented, don't like it. I would prefer to have the blue one. You think I'm just going to go ahead and change all the panels over? Nah, I've already done that. I need to do something that's slightly different. Something that you wouldn't expect. And besides that, the bit that bothers me the most actually is the interior. It's the wrong colour. It's just full of... it wants washing properly. It wants a jolly good proper wet and dry vacuuming. That's not very exciting, is it? Something else. I was thinking of replacing the interior for that out of an R3. This lovely paisley pattern there, and there's much better foam quality. But it appears I don't have the other seat. How about though R8 seats? I'm sure they fit the same. Pretty grubby though. Time to get the car. Balls. So now we have a little bit of non-committal snow, which is just as bad as rain. So that throws a spanner in the works, but look, I've made a bread basket tower. I didn't realise that you could stack these and use them as a useful shelving unit until yesterday. Anyway, Eric being a diesel means it has potential for lots more power. And that's good, because at the moment it feels like it's lacking a little bit. Sometimes it boosts, other times it doesn't boost quite as well. And I know the likely culprit. It's probably this. What I'm about to do now involves gaffer tape and welding wire. Out, bridge 1 and 5, gaffer tape, tuck away. L-series, always a problem with that particular thing. The math sensor or map on these are prone to going wrong, and by bridging it, essentially what you do is you just put it back to kind of factory setting, but without the close control over some of the smoke emissions or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what it is. What I need to make this a special car is Chaz Lee. Yes, the man known as Chaz Lee. He'd be very, very welcome to come along, or I'd be very, very happy to take this along to him so he can do his magic on it. How about that? Pass on the word. If you know Chaz, tell him he's got the opportunity to have his business promoted by none other than Project Nigel. As I started this up, set off, it did feel rather lumpy then, as if I'd upset it by unplugging something. But I should just add that the engine management light hasn't come on, so that's one thing. And in a second, once I get away from all the busy traffic and stuff, I shall just ever so slightly boot it. Although this is obviously the wrong time of day to be even attempting that. Kiln Lane, bit of heat in the engine. Let's see what it'll be like as I take off up the hill. I must admit, this car so far, performance-wise, has felt somewhat unexciting. Gents lane to first, then second, and oh, that's much more like it. Yes, that's what it should be doing. It's not rapid, but now it's probably at its 101 brake horsepower that it's supposed to have in the first place, rather than what I presume was down to about 70. We're going to do the third gear test any second here. We're on the 30 mile per hour limit, and then as we get to the national speed limit, as I call it, that's when I put my foot down and I tell you what happens. Here we go, go. Oh yes, 40, and then 50. Yes, that's actually much more like it. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Maybe you should try it from a standstill now as well. What do you reckon? Oh, I'm in 5th gear now, doing yep, and that just picks up much more satisfactory. But there's more satisfaction to be had whilst driving this little Rover. More satisfaction to be had while driving this little Rover along. What a fantastic song. I should write songs more often. So now we're going to try the takeoff, which it will never get beyond 30 miles per hour in first gear, so I can't afford to actually properly flatten it. Yes, that's 30. That's good. That was very good actually. That's what it should be. Back doing 30 until we get to that 50 limit again, and then that you know what, now it's an enjoyable car to drive. That makes so much difference. A couple of times recently I've pulled out of a junction and set off and felt like I've been holding people up, especially going up a hill. So it just kind of, do I have to? And well, no, it does. Yeah, it does have to. It's supposed to just pick up. Now it is doing. So that is, I've done this before, it's one of the best bodge up jobs that you can do, because it actually does the job properly and it doesn't cost any money. How can you complain about that one? What really got me thinking about this was being out on Sunday in Brett Anderson, and the way that thing just picks up, and then getting back in this and think, gosh, it's so slow. It should feel kind of similar. It should feel as quick but not be as quick, but it doesn't. It feels nowhere near as quick, and it isn't anywhere near as quick. And now it feels as quick, but it still won't be. But that's how it should be. Thank you. Yes, fill up the screen wash. I like to keep my screen wash topped up to the top, because sometimes it's just fun to just keep squirting this stuff out. Now, have you ever experienced the young scooter driver driving right up your arse? And it's annoying because you know if you have to brake suddenly, he's going to run into the back of you, and then he'll probably just bugger off. Well, screen wash is the answer. Squirt of screen wash is going to go over your roof and go onto his helmet, and he'll probably be annoyed with you, but you're just cleaning your windscreen, and if it's getting in his face, it's because it's too close. I'm off home now, even though it's not dark, I am off. And that concludes today's rather Eric-y video.